Welcome back to Reddit Story Time. Today we have 4 incredible stories. Let's dive right in.
Story number 1. Neighbor kept stealing my gas, so I gave him a different kind of fuel. This revenge story is equal parts disgusting and brilliant. A person had a neighbor who kept sneaking into their backyard and stealing gas from a 5-gallon can. They used the gas for their lawnmower, which only had a tiny 1-quart tank, so they quickly noticed the can was suspiciously empty every time they went to mow the lawn. This was before cheap security cameras existed, so they got creative. They set up a laptop webcam with motion detection software aimed at the backyard. Sure enough, the neighbor was caught on camera walking into the yard and taking gas literally 5 minutes after the owner left the house. Now, most people would confront the thief or call the police. But this person had a better idea, a much better idea. For the next week, every time they needed to use the bathroom, they went in the gas can. The can was now full of something that was definitely not gasoline, but still smelled enough like gas to fool an idiot. Then they set the trap. They put the tainted can back on the patio and made a big show of checking their car's fluids, packing bags, and making sure the neighbor saw them preparing for a trip. Then they left. About an hour later they came back, supposedly because of car trouble. And there was the neighbor in his front yard, pulling the starter cord on his lawnmower so hard it looked like he was going to have a stroke. He was turning bright red and cursing. The lawnmower would not start. Then he got into his car, made it a couple of blocks down the road and broke down completely. The gas can on the patio was empty. But wait, it gets better. The poster later found out this neighbor was a terrible person in general and actually had active arrest warrants. So they applied for a sheriff's ride-along program using the neighbor's name. The neighbor got arrested. Gas thief, identity theft victim, and now jailbird. All because he could not keep his hands off someone else's fuel.
And the verdict, instant karma, don't steal from your neighbor's skull.
Story number 2. The HOA president who stole $50,000 and got destroyed by the quiet guy. This is the story of how one patient homeowner systematically destroyed a corrupt HOA president named Todd. Todd was the worst kind of neighborhood tyrant. He fined people $200 for leaving trash cans out a minute past 9 a.m., but he ignored his own violations, including unpermitted structures and an illegally tall fence. He even fined a homeowner $500 over a fence stain color, then smirked and said rules are rules when shown the receipts. That homeowner decided Todd needed to go, but not through shouting matches, through methodical legal destruction. Step 1. He volunteered for the HOA board, playing the eager, naive newcomer perfectly. For 2 years, he attended every single meeting, stayed quiet, and took detailed notes. He learned how Todd operated, pushing through votes with his allies present, burying paperwork from dissenters, and bullying anyone who challenged him. Then he discovered Todd's secret. Todd was not just a bully, he was a thief. The HOA fees were unusually high, but the common areas were falling apart. The pool was mysteriously closed half the summer, the landscaping looked abandoned. As the new treasurer, Todd controlled all the accounts and refused to share financial details. When formally asked for the budget, he stalled for weeks. Step 2. The homeowner started talking to neighbors and found over a dozen people who had been denied access to the budget over the years. One neighbor claimed Todd used HOA funds to build a patio at his house. Step 3. When Todd finally handed over the records, they were a disaster. Missing invoices, mislabeled payments, a $15,000 landscaping fee paid to a company that did not exist. The homeowner cross-referenced everything and found the smoking gun. Todd was funneling HOA money into his personal accounts and splitting inflated contractor fees with a buddy. Step 4. The annual HOA meeting, usually a ghost town. But this time, the homeowner had spent weeks knocking on doors, getting people to show up. The room was packed. Todd started his usual speech about sacrifice and community service. Then the homeowner stood up, handed out copies of his detailed report to everyone, and calmly asked Todd to explain the discrepancies. The room exploded. By the end of the night, Todd was voted out. An independent auditor confirmed he had embezzled over $50,000. Police were called. A civil lawsuit was filed. Todd had to sell his house to pay restitution. He tried joining another HOA board in a different town, but someone Googled his name and he was laughed out of the room. The neighborhood pool is open again. The fees are lower, and Todd's old house now belongs to a lovely family. Justice was not just served, it was plated, garnished, and savored.
And the verdict, ultimate karma, $50,000 embezzlement exposed fire.
Story number 3, dealership repoed her car, so she stole their company name. This might be the most brilliant legal revenge story of the year. An Ohio woman named Taya bought a car from a dealership. Just 1 month later, the dealership repossessed it. She was furious, naturally, and started exploring her legal options against the company. And that is when she discovered something incredible. The dealership had failed to renew their business name registration with the Ohio Secretary of State. It had simply lapsed. This meant the company name they had been using since 2012 was technically up for grabs. So Taya did what any revenge-minded person with good research skills would do. She registered the dealership's name in her own name. Then she hit them with a cease and desist order, legally ordering them to stop using the name they had operated under for over a decade. The dealership that repossessed her car was now legally barred from using its own name. And here is the kicker. According to a former mechanic who worked at this very dealership, they are notorious for being sue-happy. He said he had never seen anything like it. There are at least 73 court cases on file at the local municipal courts. The dealership was actually a buy here, pay here lot disguised as a new car dealer. They regularly installed GPS tracking devices and ignition interrupters specifically designed for repossessions. So a dealership that loves to sue people lost their business name registration and then got sued themselves. You cannot write karma better than that. The case is still pending, but the irony is already perfect.
And the verdict, genius, she stole their name legally balance.
Story number 4. Roommate kept eating our food, so we left out sugar-free gummy bears. This is a story from college, back in 2009, right after the financial crisis. 4 guys shared an apartment. Money was incredibly tight, and one of them, who we will call H, had a habit of eating everyone else's food. The problem was not just that he took food. It was that he took the best food. A boring salad, untouched. Some chicken wings. A few would disappear. A cake from grandma, completely gone. The other roommates confronted H, and he admitted it, but clearly did not see the problem. They even told him, "Look, we know you are broke. Just ask before you take something." Because there is nothing worse than coming home exhausted from evening classes, dreaming about the homemade meal you brought from your grandmother's house, only to find the container empty and every cheap food place already closed. H did not care. He kept stealing. Then the roommates discovered something magical. A popular gummy bear brand had just released sugar-free versions, and the internet was already buzzing with stories about what happens if you eat too many. They taste just as good as the original, maybe even better. But eat a whole bag or more, and let us just say your digestive system will have very strong opinions about it. The roommates knew they had found their weapon. They drove to a big supermarket and bought a 500-gram bucket of sugar-free gummy bears. They ate a few off the top, keeping the online reviews in mind, and left the rest in plain sight. One of them specifically told H, "Do not touch my gummy bears." Knowing H, they knew it was only a matter of hours. They also prepared the bathroom. They wrapped the toilet seat in clear plastic wrap. A couple of hours later, the entire bucket of gummy bears was gone. And right as one roommate found the empty bucket, H came storming into the bathroom. Let us just say the plastic wrap caught everything. H was furious, called everyone terrible people, and threatened to move out. They all said he was more than welcome to. In the end, he stayed, but he never touched their food again. Mission accomplished.
And the verdict, perfect revenge, never steal food again toilet.
That's all for today. If you enjoyed these stories, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for more. See you next time.